Hi, we're back here with Tom Hoffman today, and we're talking more about the dark side of the angels, the fallen angels. And so he has a pretty good story, graphic story about when he was walking by a bar.
Basically, we just finished dinner and we came outside, and basically I looked at this bar, and I all of a sudden the Holy Spirit had been real strong in the bar. I felt it, and when I went outside, I looked at the bar and I could see this dark cloud hanging over the bar.
Mm.
And it was also, I saw slime coming down the building, and I could see like gargoyle like creatures sitting on the bar. It was wild.
Wow.
And also the bar itself has a dark color to it, but it looked like there's a hole. It was so dark, it was darker than it normally would have been. It was like a hole in reality.
So you were on the street looking at this. You weren't
Across the street.
Yeah, you weren't
across the
inside
street.
bar. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, let's check this out. So, I kind of like, wow, this is cool. Let's go look at it, demons. So I want to run over there. And my angel was saying, Tom, under no conditions are you to go in the bar. You can look, but don't go in. And I was thinking, I want to go in, And Jeff, he's a good buddy of mine. He's a big guy, like 6'4", like Mutt and Jeff kind of thing. And he said that his role, he was told that if I got too giddy about it, he was going to tackle me. Because the fact that if I walked in without permission, I would be vulnerable. And
Okay.
and it says this is their stronghold. I also got a strong sense that this bar was a stronghold of evil for the whole area. There was a time where I saw, this is over a period, the story I'm going to see is over a period of 3 weeks. So I'm going to condense the whole thing. There was a time I saw this drain, like a huge drain above them, like it was pulling in all the darkness and draining into this bar.
Wow.
So I go up to the bar, and I look inside, and there's people inside, of course, and then it was really wild. I'm going to be a bit graphic, but you need to understand this. I could felt a sexual lure. And I'm not really much of a bar person,
Yeah.
but I really felt the sexual lure, like I really wanted to go in there. And it was like almost like something was grabbing my groin. And I could feel it. And it was really remarkable how strong it was. And that's part of the reason why the angels told me not to go in, because I wanted to go in. It was just really kind of like really attractive. And it was funny, I was aware of it enough to realize that I was being manipulated, but it didn't matter. I still wanted to go in. And, so we basically went by, and I think we went back again, and I noticed that this lure seemed to have like a radius, meaning that you get like 50 or 100 yards away and the lure would pass.
Okay.
And one time I went in there, and as I looked inside, the bar had like a long bar stools, and then a series of these booths. And I could look in and see like chains with a manacle on it at each of the booths sitting on top. And these manacles had like a snake-like quality. They were moving. And when I looked over at the bar stools, there was attached to the bars, the support,
Okay.
and there were manacles. And I could tell these manacles were going to grab you if you sat down.
Wow.
So to keep you there. And that was part of the lure, and part of the way to affect your mind. And then basically right below each of the areas of the bar where the stool was, there were little bogs, like a swamp. So when people would be sitting there, their feet would be actually in this muddy swamp. And I could see there was like aromas coming up, and I could tell these aromas were seductive, meaning that the smell would want you to keep you to stay. And also the sexual lure. And I'm pretty liberal, so I don't, but it was funny. You could actually see the effect it has on people.
Wow.
And then we went to another bar, which wasn't as intense. As I walked up, also, I saw this vulture-like creature sitting up there on a sign. It was huge, 7 to 9 feet. And this other bar, as I walked up, there was an angel on one side of the doorway and a demon on the other side. And the demon looked like a gorilla-like creature, a little bigger than 6 feet, a little heavier, but not hugely.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like fangs, like a gorilla would look, the heavy teeth. So I walked up, and also God had been talking to me about...
Wait.
Okay.
Finish the story.
Okay. Basically, I walked up, and I thought to myself, I'm going to get this thing with my light. And what this light is it's like you pull God into you, you feel His love, and it's like a light, and you can actually shine it out. Sometimes I've realized I can be like Iron Man, and I can project it out like a beam. I actually chased away the vulture once where I just beamed at it, and it flew away. Like, look at that Iron Man, this brilliant beam of light. So that's something God has been teaching me. So when I walked up with my light, we have like a bubble of light around you that influences people. I walked up to the demon, and I could tell as I got closer, it took a slight step back. I thought to myself, I don't like these guys. So I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to mess with this guy. And I just took a deep breath, say, with the love of Jesus, fill me with your love. And I just stepped right into his body. And he jumped back.
Oh my God.
He just jumped back from me like I was red hot. And that's when I realized that your presence, this light, can be used offensively and defensively. And literally, so basically wandered around. I went to another bar at one point.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you went and you jumped in his body. He stepped back, and did you just drop it there?
At that point, I did.
Okay.
And because he went into the building, and then the other angel next to me laughed, and he said, "Oh, we have a warrior." and then also a couple people, women would come out, and I could look at their faces, and I guess I was focusing on the women. I mean, to be honest with you.
Still single, yeah.
Yeah, still single. But basically, I could see sometimes. It was like they were like their faces were hazy, like they were kind of like under the influence, almost like like you look down when you look in the desert, you're driving, you see this kind of shimmer on a hot road that comes
like,
off the road.
almost looks like water, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it looked like around them, and I could tell it was confusion. It was sexual. They were sexually being stimulated, and they were just basically that was the demonic using sexual attraction to manipulate them. I even saw some stuff hanging from the groins. Is that too much?
That's too much.
All right. That's how we say demons were. That's how we say directly stimulating people. But anyway, so we went back to the place. I went at one point. I thought, well, I'm going to see if I can clean this light out. So I went to the bar and hosed it out. And
okay, wait. Now, is this the first bar that you went into?
The very bad one, right?
Okay, the really, really bad one. So. Okay, so you said you went and hosed it out. What's that?
Yeah,
mean?
I just visualized this like I'm Iron Man, this beam of light, and I kind of cleaned out the building, and it cleaned it off and walked the slime off. And one of the warrior angels had told me that we need to. This is actually at this point when I'd gone back, there's nobody in the bar, so he said, "Why don't you come back sometime when there's people there?" So I'm kind of like I said, I'm combining like 3 or 4 weeks of different story. So I did that, and then later, all right. I had used the light, shined it out. Okay, now we went back again. This is another night. Over there, I'm seeing the stuff had come back, and the warrior angel is basically my warrior angel. Oh, also afterwards, I did this cleaning. I was actually at another function, saw a warrior angel, started talking with him. He told me his name. I'm not going to release that. He said, "I've been assigned to you now because of what you did with the light. You're now a higher priority target." And so now he's been assigned to me, and now he goes around with me, and he's always with me. So anyway, we go back. This is like another week. I'm looking at the bar across the street, and then he says, "Why don't we clean it out?" I said, "Okay." And I'm here with my buddy, the same buddy. We go back again, and we're walking across the street, come back, and he tells us to wait. We're like in this little place at the sidewalk, maybe 20, 30 yards away, and we wait there. He's standing there, and this time, he's usually not this big, but now he's resplendent. He's got to be over 7 to 8 feet tall, really big, bulky, and he's wearing this gleaming armor, and he's kind of like giving off a light, like he's glowing, like almost like radiating light. A sense of power and strength was radiating from him.
Cool.
And I didn't see that before. At least I saw it, but not as like he's like powerful. He said we need to wait. So we waited and waited. I don't mean that. It wasn't like a long time, but over a period of like 5 minutes, different warrior angels would appear, and pretty much there was 6 of them. And he said, "All right, we're ready." And basically, they were forming like 3 on each side, like in a wide V or a U. And we kind of and then there was this golden bubble around us of protection between my friend and I. And we walked up to the entrance of the bar. I've never since gone in the bar. I've only looked down the inside. We went up to the entrance, and they said, "All right, I want you to wait here." 2 of the angels remained with us with this golden bubble around us. And then the other 4 angels walked into it. And they're all large and tall and gleaming, powerful looking. And they walked into it almost like in a military lockstep where they're marching in unison. And they didn't do anything. They just walked in, like 4 side by side.
Okay.
And basically, all of a sudden, I could see like lightning going off, like this incredible storm with hundreds of strikes of brilliant lightning just all over the bar, just flashes and flashes and flashes and flashes. Wow. And I could tell it was affecting the entire building. Then he said, "Tom, why don't you add your light to the process?" And I did. Added my light. And then afterwards, they came out. It didn't take longer than a couple minutes. Like these guys just made short work of this place, if that long. And he said, "We're done." And we walked away. Oh, okay. Now this is kind of cool. The building felt cleaner, and the environment seemed brighter. Sometimes when I'm around the demonic, actually I've seen notice in Jay's, the room will get darker.
Okay.
Literally, like someone turned down the actual intensity of the light, like on a rheostat. It's an open eye thing.
Wow.
And sometimes I can feel a sense of oppressiveness. I'll close my eyes and pray, open my eyes back up, and the light's restored. But literally, it's an open eye thing. And I can feel that the environment now around the bar was healthier. There was no sexual lure. There was no, and even the building didn't look as dark. I could just see the normal colors of the painting on it, not the dark hole anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, we went to the corner, we crossed the street, and then this vulture-like creature said to me as we crossed, he says, "There will be consequences for what you've done tonight." And it was a real threatening tone. And it kind of startled me a little bit, and it was a little scary initially because the tone was real threatening.
Yeah.
And then the warrior angel said to me, "Tom, don't worry. He's just trying to intimidate you. We're here to protect you. God's got your back, and you don't have to worry." And I crossed the street and was walking the other direction. And I don't like being threatened. I never have liked being threatening, and it kind of pissed me off that the thing was threatening me. So I turned around, took a deep breath, just filled myself with as much light, and said, and just let him have it with just as bright as light as I could do. And it hit the creature. The creature started to scream and cry. He started to fly away, and I just targeted this thing for, I bet it was a full minute. It was going up and around, and then eventually it started flying away from me, and I was just following it, and I could hear it screaming the entire time. It's like it got to a point where it gotten so far away that it went out of my sight. But, like I said, but I bet it was a full minute I was targeting it.
Wow.
And then the warrior angels laughed. They laughed real hard. And
having the power of God and His light and love to just be able to blast the enemy.
I mean, it
That
really
is so awesome.
It is. It's really, that's within our power.
Yes.
I mean, it's a spiritual battle out there, and you can choose to do battle. And
I
it's
must
cool.
admit, I got a little vision the other night. We were talking with Tom about these, spiritual things like that. And I see myself as like this little mouse standing in front of one of these, demonic forces, and just like, okay, you gotta do this. And he sort of looks at me and laughs, and then he sees this huge lion, God behind me, and then he cringes and runs away. So believe me, it's not us.
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. I mean, it's really stepping into your authority, but if you step into authority, you have huge power. We all do. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Great story. Great story.
I went back one more time, and this is like the week after we'd done the cleaning, house cleaning, and I wandered around, and the bar itself, we looked at it, and it still was clean. I didn't see any cloud. I didn't see any slime. I went up to the bar at the entrance. There was a little darkness I felt about it, but no lure, and it felt to me that the entire environment of the area had been improved. And God told me that basically what we'd done is we'd gotten rid of a stronghold. And this stronghold, negative strongholds, can act as like a focal point for negativity. And what we did, by getting rid of the stronghold, we actually lightened or reinforced the light around this area. So people, it may sound a little crazy, but that's the feeling I got, that basically we had improved the community by getting rid of it, because this was like a stronghold. It was pulling in all the darkness for the whole area. It was like a stronghold of evil.
Wow.
And it was affecting, it had ripple effects. It's almost like you can drop a pebble into the water and you got ripples going out. Well, these ripples can be positive and these ripples can be negative. So basically, when you embrace evil, when evil gets reinforced, negative ripples go out and they cause negative things to happen to people. People make poor choices. They do things, and it can negative. And also, if you do things with the light, you can get positive light. So there's far-reaching effects from all our actions. It's almost so each person is a beacon of light. And your light can affect everything around you. And it works pretty much like ripples, that you'll send out light. And the brighter your light is, the more love, the more you'll feel for God, the more you can affect all the things around you. And there's multiplicative effects. Like you send out a ripple, which may encourage someone who sends out other ripples, and all these ripples go out. And basically, when you get more good than bad, the area gets better. In certain areas where the evil's stronger, you can go the opposite direction. But that's really kind of like a manifestation or a representation of what's going on spiritually.
So there you have it. That is such a good story. Now, you may not feel you have the power to do what Tom's doing with his warrior angels, but you do have the light of God in you. And so let your light shine and get rid of that darkness around you. There's a lot of people around here, around all of us at some time, who just don't have that light. Share your light and let it shine. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.